Well, here we go. Another car for sale and another kind of walk around. This is a 1972 Roadrunner. It was a 344 speed car, one of 329 ever built. This car is very rusty in some areas, but actually decent in others. This car is a major project that will take a lot of hours for somebody to do. And to be 100% fair and 100% honest, it would not be worth it to do as far as sending it to a restoration shop. You'll never get your money back out of it. But if you want something as a personal project and you can weld and you can do the work, this might be a decent car for you. So, first things first, this is just a roller, no engine, no transmission. That stuff is all gone. That was taken from the previous owner. So that is the story there. There's no drive line except for the rear end. And the rear end is an 8 3/4 with a 355 gear. I believe it's a sure grip, but I believe it may be broken. And the rear springs in the car are actually broken. I believe this car was definitely used and got its fair share of being beaten up over the years. So I guess we can just kind of get right into it, show where it's good, show where it's bad, and as always, if this is something you're interested in, you can email me. I will put my email at the top of the description of the video, and you can email me there with any questions or anything you want to know about the car. And this has clean title, um, fender tag, VIN, everything matches, so that's all good, no problems there. First things first, the grill is missing, so that's going to be fairly difficult to track down. I do know a guy that's actually reproducing the headlight bezels, so that's good. Those are hard to get as originals. Let's see if I can get this open one-handed. So, like I said, no engine or transmission, and it is very clear and quick to see that this car is rotted. You can see down there the frame sections are bad. Up there is a little hole in the cowl, but other than that, the cowl is actually very solid. Same hole on the other side, and the frame is bad down there as well. So, keep that in mind. But, let's see if I can set this down. There are no hood hinges on it, so it was difficult to open, but the hood hinges are in the trunk. The front clip is off of a different car. As you can see, this is gold. And the fenders, the hood is off of that car. And we'll go into depth on that. But as you can see, the fenders overall are super nice. They're not rusted out like almost all of them are. Which is very good because they're very hard to get. This side, the fender is also pretty much rust free, but it got pretty beaten up in here, so there's a lot of hours in body work to fix that, but it's better than trying to fix a rusted out piece of junk. This is a dual sport mirror car, painted, and this car was originally, as you can kind of see here, this car was B5 blue, and it was B5 blue interior. Somebody along the way dyed or painted the interior black, and these are not the correct seats for the car either. This was a bench seat 4-speed car. The 4-speed tunnel is still in place. That has not been touched or messed with. The back seat appears to be original. The door panels are there, and as you can see, more evidence of the B5 blue. and it has a rally dash, 150 miles speedometer, no tack or anything. The radio bezel actually isn't cut, which is rare. They are almost always cut. Um, and the dash reads 3,119 miles. I assume that would be 103,000 on the body. Not that that really matters, because most of the body would get replaced. But just kind of nice to know. The floors are pretty well rotten. The carpet's still in place, but you can see down here it's pretty well gone. So to keep that in mind. And here's the door tag still in place. You can't really see it there, it's got paint on it. But I'll close that up. Real RM23H 340 car. St. Louis, Missouri car. As a lot of them were. Also, like I said, the rear springs are broken. You'll see the wheel and tires kind of offset in the wheel well. That's why. So to keep that in mind. These are 14-inch rally wheels all the way around. They're probably the original wheels. I wouldn't doubt it. The taillights are actually in pretty good shape overall. These are really hard to get. That taillight's broken, but the housings are hard to get and very, very expensive if you can find nice originals. The trunk lid is pretty much junk. The trunk pan is actually nice in a lot of areas. I believe that this could be patched and repaired. There is a little hole up there, as well as you might notice, it might be too dark to see, but you might notice that the inside of this quarter panel is gold. And this one is the original blue with the original undercoating. So it's kind of come to my attention that the right-hand quarter panel has been replaced, probably from the gold car that the front clip came from. So this quarter panel is actually pretty nice and could be repaired rather than replaced like everybody replaces them. So we're gonna crawl underneath this thing and see what else we could see. I apologize if it's dark. Oh yeah, you can see that. There are holes in the frame rails pretty much everywhere. I will always be 100% straightforward and honest. This car, as I've said, is a lot of work. And somebody is going to have a lot of hours into putting this car back on the road. So, with that in mind, this car was originally purchased. Sorry about that, the camera cut out. As I was saying, this car was originally purchased as a parts car. I originally purchased this car for the rally dash and other miscellaneous parts, as well as the front clip that I was going to put onto a 1972 satellite that we have that you might see in a future video that was hit in the front. So with that in mind, I'm putting a time limit on this car. I've had this car for a long time, contemplated on parting it out or saving it, and pretty much 2-3 weeks, if it's not sold by then, it will get parted out. And it's a shame to even think about it, but that would be another rare car off the road. And I guess here's an opportunity for somebody that's looking for a pretty big project to step up and save one, because this car, as I've said in my previous video I did on the 67 Monaco, you can check that out in my other videos if you'd like. We do parts here. We buy and sell parts and cars and other miscellaneous things all the time, and I have to look at this from parts value. And we do a lot of online sales through eBay and other sources, and I'll actually put a link to the eBay sellers page. If there's any of you that have Mopars that are looking for miscellaneous parts, I might be able to help you out. But you just got to look at it with a different mindset, because like this front window trim is worth money. These A-pillars are worth money. The dash frame is worth money. The drip rail is worth a lot of money. All this trim, it all adds up. This car was bought as a parts car, and it was valued as a parts car. This rear window trim, that's a couple $100. The drip rail set, that's another few $100. Front window chrome, or stainless, excuse me, that's another $250 or so. The fenders, the whole front clip is worth probably $1,500 just because it's not rusted out like everything else is, you know. The 8 3/4 with the 355 sure grip. They don't make the housings for these cars, these 71 through 4B bodies. You cannot find 8 3/4 for these cars hardly ever. That rear end is worth probably $650. You know, it all adds up. That rear bumper, they don't make that rear bumper. And this one's actually okay. You could send that out to get re-chromed or use it as a driver quality. There's a couple $100. The taillight housings themselves are about $300 because nobody makes them. The single good taillight there is probably worth almost $100. You know, it goes on, and almost everything we have was purchased with a parts value in mind. So you got to understand that when you look at my stuff, and when you look at the videos, and when you look at some of my asking prices, I have to get decent enough money for the car as a whole in order for it to make sense to not go through the work to part it out. Because the unfortunate truth is parting a car out is always going to be worth more money than keeping one together when it's a car in this kind of state. And I hate to even think about it because it's just kind of a sad fact of it. And I only just barely scratched the surface. So with that being said, I guess I'll just kind of cut to the chase here. The beginning asking price for this car, complete as is, and also one detail that's very important that I forgot to add. This comes with a 1972 Charger parts car shell that has good front and rear frame sections to replace the ones that are bad on this. So you get those frame sections from that car, so you get a lot of the parts that you need. So keep that in mind as well. Starting at $4,200 is where we're going to start on this one. It's got clean title, fender tag, and VIN that all match. That's all good. As well as it's just got a very large parts value, and it's a very rare car. 344 speed car, one of 329 made. So please keep that in mind. And like I said, a few weeks, if there's no takers, that's fine. It'll just have to get parted out, and that's the unfortunate way that things go sometimes. And it's just a lot of work, and not a lot of guys want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't think that I'm at a position where I'm going to go through the work of doing front and rear and a lot of the middle frame sections, a whole floor, probably both quarters, and a bunch of other sheet metal replacement. It's not going to be worth it in the end for me. But if it's somebody that wants one of these cars and wants to keep one of these cars, it's likely going to be worth it for you in order to get a real deal 72 Roadrunner. So with that in mind, I'll leave it at that. And once again, I'll leave my email that you can contact me right at the top of the description of the video. It's ryanbarsnesyt@gmail.com. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.